All right. Good evening, good people. You would think at this point I'd be a little more proficient with this technology, but I'm still having a little bit of a challenge at times. So bear with me. But nonetheless, good evening, good people. Um, welcome to another edition of, excuse me, welcome to another 203k Tuesday. I am your host, Aaron, the house person, and this is the place that you come to find out all the things you don't know about the 203k loan and learn how you can use the loan to help you create, build, and sustain generational wealth. Give me 1 second. I want to bring in our guest for the day. Paul, can you hear me?
All right, there we are.
There we go. Hey, Paul, how you doing?
We're good. I can't see you. There you are. Okay, I can see you now.
Got me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, all right. So we are already live. Welcome, everyone. This is Mr. Paul Weldon with Home Smart. Yes, I got it right. Okay.
Yeah.
So a part of the normal, I guess, introduction and things of that nature will be covered in the interview questions. So if it's all right with you, I'd like to just, hop right into those questions. And then on the back end, we'll go ahead and have our conversation.
Let's do it.
Go from there. All right.
Let's do it.
So again, Mr. Paul Weldon with Home Smart, realtor out of, Arizona. I know you're kind of in the Phoenix, like Sierra Vista, kind of in that area, right?
Phoenix, Arizona, yeah.
Oh, you froze on me.
Okay. There, I see you.
Gotcha. So yeah, what part of Arizona again, Paul?
The Phoenix, Arizona area.
Okay, so I did get that right. All right, great. All right, so first question. Do you know the 203k process from start to finish, and can you explain it to me?
Yeah, I think I'm one of the rare real estate agents that knows the 203k. But yeah, I do know it quite well, and it varies a little bit depending on which version of the 203k you're doing. But I can certainly explain it from start to finish if you want me to.
Okay, we're gonna do the abridged version, but go ahead.
Well, I mean, it depends. You want me to start by talking about, the process before you actually, get the home under contract, or you want to start like before you even get to that process?
Let's go with before you get under contract.
All right, before you get under the contract, number one, you got to put your team together. You got to put you got to get a good lender. You got to get the realtor and the contractor. Those are the three important pieces of the puzzle. You got to put your whole team together. Without the right team, you're just not going to have a good experience with the 203k. So you got to put those together, and then you go out and you can go find the home. Lender, realtor, contractor, then you go out and find the home. Once you find the home, then you get the feasibility analysis and the scope of work write-up done by the consultant. You get the proposal from one or multiple certified 203k contractors. You get the appraisal done, you close the loan, you own the house, renovations begin. It's supposed to be that simple. What do you think, Aaron?
Okay, all right. So I think you know the process.
Yeah.
All right. So next question: How long have you been a real estate agent?
I've had my real estate license since April of 2005, so we're coming up on 16 years.
All right, 16 years. And would you consider yourself part-time or full-time?
Ooh, good question. That's yes, no, and it depends. I do have a real estate license, and I do practice that quite regularly, but I only represent buyers. I don't do listings. I don't do sales. I don't represent sellers. And so I do real estate full time, but I also have side things that I do on the side. But I guess that's a difficult thing to answer. Am I 100% full time? Is that my only source of income? No, but I do dedicate a considerable amount of my time to my real estate business.
Gotcha, gotcha. Okay. So if someone was working with you, would they be working with you individually, or is it kind of a team situation?
Well, that depends. Usually it's
On
just me.
on the agent side, just on the agent side.
Yeah, on the agent side, usually they would be working with me. There's no team. However, I do like to travel quite a bit internationally. But since the COVID pandemic, I've not been traveling at all. But when I do go out of town or out of the country, I do have other real estate professionals that I feel can do what I do at about a 70 to 80% level. And to me, that's good enough to have someone step into my place while I'm out of town. I still manage my real estate transactions and process and clients even when I'm out of the country, because it's easy. If you have access to the phone and internet, you can do almost anything in real estate. So I still do that. But if someone needs to go in and look at a house, or we need someone boots on the ground, I do have other people that I know and trust in the Phoenix area, other real estate agents that can help me.
Okay, okay, great. So would you consider yourself, are you a real estate investor, or do you work with them as well?
I am a real estate investor. I bought 2 investment properties in 2019, and I do help a lot of real estate investors. Yes.
Okay. What would you say is the most challenging part about the 203k process?
Oh man, the most challenging part I think is managing people's expectations, setting their, I guess, process and plan up for success is
Hmm.
difficult because a lot of people are watching these HGTV, rehab shows and Property Brothers and everything else, and they have these ideas that things can go off just smoothly without very few problems or bad situations that happen.
Hmm.
But no matter how well you set up your process, no matter how well you set up your team, no matter how well you think you've thought through every single possible scenario that could go good or could go bad, always comes up. Some speed bumps, life happens. And so I think setting people's expectations for what should happen and what could happen, and how things are really going to happen with all the life speed bumps is quite a bit of a challenging thing. And plus, you've got a whole bunch of moving pieces of the puzzle. You've got a whole bunch of moving parts going on with the 203k. And one of those moving parts, when they get out of whack, I mean, it can really throw off the whole thing. So there's a lot more work and time and effort involved in helping a real estate client go through a 203k process.
Okay, so if I heard you correctly, HGTV, the part that they edit out is the part that you have to actually inform people, hey, it's not as, glamorous as what you see on TV. There are some, as you said, some speed bumps, some peaks and valleys along the way through this process.
Yeah, it is, and they're just reality TV shows. They're not real. It's not real life. It's what could happen. And there's an article that I read online, and of course, you have to believe everything you read online, right? But this one article was really interesting because it interviewed the homeowners that were part of these rehab TV shows and what their process was like and what their home was like afterwards. And all the homeowners that were interviewed were saying that you can't believe the piecemeal work that they put together my project in my home just to make it look good for the cameras. Things were barely held together by super glue and Scotch tape. And we had to pretty much redo our entire kitchen remodel after they were done. And we were stuck with it because that was part of the agreement on the TV. So, what you see in TV isn't really always what happens in reality, because, you don't see these contractors necessarily getting hurt, or someone having a baby, or someone getting in a car wreck, or materials being delayed or something. So people have these I think these false expectations based on what they see on TV, and it kind of ruins the process a little bit for what really happens in the real world. But once you bring people down to what really can happen, they want to go up here where it's like, oh wow, I can do this and I can do that. But then you have to set their expectations and bring them down to normal level. And then it's like, oh, this is reality. And now this is really where it gets a lot of fun.
Okay. Okay. If you want to name, but who is your preferred 203k loan officer, I guess, in that area? And do you have more than one?
I do have more than one. I don't have one preferred lender for 203Ks that I send everyone to. You know, the thing, and there aren't many local lenders that do them in the Phoenix area. There's a few, but you know, some people want a local lender. They want someone they can meet in person, shake their hand, or go into their office and meet. And for those clients, I definitely refer them to someone that's local. Other ones want someone that maybe has a more streamlined process and is online and has a more fluid process to go through. And those I'd maybe send them to a national lender that may not have an office here, but is licensed in Arizona. So the lenders that I refer my clients to are client specific based on the client's needs, their personality, and what that client wants that lender to do.
Gotcha. So you're fitting the lender with the situation.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's all situational based, the contractor, the lender, the consultant. I mean, even us realtors, I mean, we're all situational based. I mean, the services that I provide as a real estate agent aren't necessarily acclimated to every single buyer client out there. And the same thing too with lenders. You know, although, you know, you can have three different FHA 203K lenders that are great at what they do, they have a different way of doing things, a different way of processing things, and a different way of administering the 203K that may not work well with every single client out there. So you try to pair each client with, you know, the specific lender based on their needs and their goals.
Okay, perfect, perfect. Again, don't necessarily have to name names, but as far as 203k experience 203k contractors, do you know any? And that's kind of a trick question. And you guys will see why later, but do you know any 203k contractors?
I do know a lot of
Okay.
203K contractors. If you want me, do you want me to name one that's in the Phoenix area?
Yeah, you can go ahead. Name one.
The one that's in the Phoenix area that I really like is Desert Solutions, Matt Reitler. He's just been, you know, my right-hand guy when it comes to any renovation loans. He knows his stuff, and he's just an amazing partner to work with. And I wish there were more people like him, you know, all around the country. I wish I could just duplicate him and clone him because he's just really good at what he does.
Okay, Desert Solutions. Got it. Write that down, folks. So again, you always need to have one of these and some paper because you should be taking notes. All right. So are you currently working with someone who is going through the 203k process using the loan right now?
No, I'm not. I'm not currently working with anyone that is going through or interested in a 203k loan right now. Although I do get a lot of requests and I get a lot of interest, no one recently has taken that step forward that says, all right, let's do it. There was one back in September, but for what that client was looking for, it was not possible to do the 203k. But since then, I've not come across anyone who wants to do one.
Okay. Okay. And last question, do you have any past or current, we just kind of discussed current, past or current 203k clients that we could call or that someone could call as far as referrals?
Oh my goodness. You know, it's been a little bit of time. I'm sure there is. I don't have one that I remember off the top of my head. I could certainly look them up and give you that information later, but I couldn't think of one right off the top of my head.
Well, so yeah, we don't actually need it right now, but for those who are watching in the Phoenix area and say, okay, well, I want to speak to someone that you've worked with, you're able to provide that with them. So that's good. That's more important than, actually presenting that information here today. So
Yeah, and there's a lot of people. You know, it's weird. I get a lot of phone calls and emails and requests from people out of Arizona, you know, Connecticut, New Jersey, Florida, you know, California, places, you know, real estate agents or lenders or borrowers, buyers calling me saying, hey, listen, I understand you know a lot about the 203K. Can you help me with this? And I'm not even their agent. I mean, they're in a different state or different areas. So I do get a lot of those requests quite often from out of my area. And I don't mind helping them. I like helping them because the more you can pass it along and the goodwill and the good information, the better, you know, the 203K process can be for everyone involved.
perfect, perfect. Well, that is the interview portion of our session. So my meeting and how we actually met was through, this is a perfect example of 6 degrees of separation. In this particular case, I think it was only 2 degrees. So a good buddy of yours is or was the manager of a loan officer that I work with.
Mhm.
And when you were here in DC, I was able to meet you at the restaurant, and that's when I found out a little more about your story. I met you because of the website that you have, and the ironic part about that is through my process of trying to help folks with the 203k loan, and my first experience with the lender who they could do a loan, but you know how everyone can do it, but
Right.
they not necessarily can do it. But
Yeah, just because they have the ability to do it doesn't mean that they can or should be doing them, right?
correct. And my search of contractors, you start out with Google, and it landed me to a website named 203k Contractors.com.
Yep.
And fast forward to that meeting you and finding out, this is what you said. You said, we were talking, I was asking some questions, and you said, yeah, so some agents like us. And I'm like, wait, did he say like us? So you're an agent? Wait, so you have a website, and that website is 203kcontractors.com.
Right.
Could you kind of talk about the backstory of, what made you come up with this?
Yeah, it was because of my first 203k client. His name was Jim. Jim's passed away. His name was Jim Hunter. And I didn't know when I met him that I was going to be, this was in real estate, that I was going to be doing a 203k. In fact, this was early on in my real estate career that I didn't even know what a 203k was, but he told me that he wanted me to find him a house that would be his last house that he wanted to die in. He never wanted to move again. And
Wow.
we came across this house, and I looked at it, and I knew enough, even in my burgeoning real estate career, I knew enough that looking at that house, it was not going to qualify for a loan because of its condition. It was missing a water heater. It was it had lead. I think it had lead-based paint in the property because it was old. It was built in the 1950s, and peeling paint, and the roof was bad, and the AC was missing, and things like that, or just safety and health concerns, and it's not livable. And I told Jim, yeah, sorry, man, you can't buy this house. It doesn't meet the safety standards that lenders have. And he was doing an FHA loan. I said, you can't do it. Sorry. He goes, well, I'm sorry, part to tell you, but this is the house I'm going to buy. So you need to find me a way to buy it. And it was a bank-owned foreclosure. It was done by, I think it was owned by Bank of America at that time. And it had been on the market for like almost 90 days. No one was buying it. And they kept reducing the price. And it became a price that it was just like an incredible deal if someone was able to buy it. But it was still too much that investors wouldn't touch it. But it was in a condition that homeowners wouldn't necessarily be able to buy it. And he kept coming after me, day after day, week after week, and the house was still on the market. He goes, Paul, have you found a way to help me buy it? Have you found me a way to buy the house?
Froze on me, Paul.
What about now?
Oh, hold on for a second, guys. Okay, it said the house. The last thing I heard was house.
Yeah, so he kept coming after me saying, have you found me a way to buy this house? Have you found me a way to buy this house? And I said, finally, after one of those times and one of those weeks that went by, and I said, yes, I actually found your way to buy the house. And that is doing an FHA loan. He goes, well, that's what I'm doing as an FHA loan. I said, yeah, I know, but it's called like a 203K or something, but I think you can buy the house and you can include the renovation costs into the mortgage. He goes, oh my God, that's great. Let's do it. And so I didn't know anything at that time. I didn't know anything about the loan, about how to write the contract as a real estate agent. I didn't know about contractors or any of the process. So I wrote up the purchase offer and sent it to the seller and the seller's agent and tell them that we were doing it 203K. And they said, that's great. And so we did. So long story short, Jim closed on the house. He ended up getting almost $60,000 in equity when he ended up buying the house, just because the price was so low that no one else wanted to touch it or could touch it, and no one else knew how they could buy it. But we struggled. We struggled with the contractors. We struggled a lot with the contractors. And I mean, we went almost 2 months without finding a contractor who wanted to do the 203K on this home. And this is a foreclosure process, and you're supposed to be closed in, and we're 2 months in, and we still have not found a contractor.
Mhm.
So the loan ended up closing. Jim ended up getting the house, really happy, everything's great. But there was a light bulb that went off in my head, and it was like, bing. If I'm struggling with the 203k, and I know there's a lot of cool benefits with the 203k, and I'm struggling with the contractors, maybe I can find a way to put a group of contractors together to help other people. So I started doing that. I spent a lot of time doing that, and uh, it ended up going national within about 6 months. This website directory of contractors, because I was getting phone calls from people all over the nation saying, hey, when is the 203k coming out to my area? When are there going to be contractors in my area? So we quickly moved out of the beta stage, the beta testing phase, and we expanded to go nationwide. And now there is a comprehensive education-based accreditation program for contractors that want to get involved in the 203k and all types of renovation loans that exist because of the 203k. So very fortunate that we're able to help so many people across the country. And because of that and the directory and these educated contractors, the 203k has seen a huge boom in the last 10 years. It's been quite amazing.
Okay, so what I just heard was you're a very knowledgeable 203k agent.
Mm-hmm.
In addition to that, you created a site where people can go and get 203k certified contractors. So folks who are in the business, licensed, bonded, insured, and have raised their hand and taken an extra step to get more information in their mind as far as how to go through that 203k process to be able to better help their client.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, the education is key when you want to succeed at a lot of things in life and in business. And although a lot of contractors can certainly do a 203k without knowing what they're supposed to be doing with the federal guidelines, my goodness, it makes the process so much easier for everyone involved, knowing the different versions of the 203k, what you can and cannot do, how you're going to get paid, what about change orders, what the timelines are, all these kinds of things that, knowing up front what you're getting into just makes the process easier for, the contractor themselves, for the customer, for the realtor, for the lender, for the seller, for everyone involved. The more you know, the more you can help other people.
I like it. I like it. Okay, so in addition to that, because I had to throw this out there, a part of your meeting that day, you had a meeting earlier that day before I actually had a chance to meet you that evening. Can you speak on that?
Yeah, you talking about the class?
No, I think you, if I'm not mistaken, I believe you had a meeting with HUD that day.
Oh yeah, that one. Yeah, I met with the director for the FHA 203k program, and was talking to him about all the ways that the 203k is inherently problematic, and the ways that we can overcome these things, and certain things can be done with consultants and contractors and lenders and more education and more training and things like this. So the meeting that I had in HUD with the director for the single family housing department that oversees the 203k was really quite extraordinary. It was really beneficial to having that meeting with him, and it was really informative. He took the meeting notes that we had and the ideas and suggestions to heart, and some of them actually to get implemented. But when you want to get some changes done with the federal government or any one of the federal government programs, it's not an easy thing to do. It's like trying to turn a cruise ship, going, I don't know, 200 miles an hour, even though it's not, the nautical terms, but it's
Gotcha.
difficult when you're trying to change something so big as the federal government. Even just one thing, it's difficult to do that. I know when the 203k changed back in 2015, streamlined 203k was eliminated and replaced with the limited 203k. That process took over 5 years just to do that one thing. So it's nice to know that HUD is listening to people when they have ideas and suggestions, and was very fortunate to have that meeting that day.
I agree. And not just people, but someone who is in the trenches, someone who is helping a lot of folks, and someone who has gathered a database of folks that they've educated. And while we're on the education piece, one of the other things that I saw as far as you educating, is you have a list of events where you also educated realtors.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, one of the things that I do is I teach a CE class for realtors on okay, and it is quite a unique class and a session and an event taught by me, a realtor that has done a lot of 203Ks and other rehab loans. And so I'm teaching it from a realtor's point of view. You know, most of the CE classes that we go to as realtors are taught by lenders and they want to get your business, or home inspectors and they're teaching you from the home inspector side of things, or they're taught by an industry representative by a contractor or home, you know, other types of things. They're always teaching them from their point of view, but not necessarily from a realtor point of view and how a realtor's done them and been in the trenches and what to look for and what to do and these kind of things and how to write the contract. So it's these classes end up being big events and they're a lot of fun when you're actually being taught by someone of your one of your peers that has done quite a few and knows what they're doing. And it's a lot of
Okay, okay, I like it. Well, amazingly, we're actually up against it. And that 30 minutes flew by pretty quickly, if I do say so myself. So Paul, for those who may be interested in working with you in Arizona, or for those contractors out here who say, hey, look, I heard about 203K, but I need more information, how can they get in contact with you?
well, the easiest way for real estate, you can go to my website. It's quite a catchy name, cheapphoenixhomes.com. You can also call me at 480-241-0081. And for all your 203K needs, contractors, you want to go to the website, 203kcontractors.com.
So cheapphoenixhomes.com.
Phoenixhomes.com. And for 203K, 203kcontractors.com.
All right. So folks, there you have it. Paul Weldon with Home Smart, and also the what would you say your title is? I mean, I know you're the owner, but he handles the education portion of Contractor. So Contractor, 203kcontractors.com. And again, for you realtors who are looking to get a little more experience, you know, Paul may be able to assist you with that as well. Paul, I definitely appreciate your time here. I thank you for your information. And let me just say this. I really genuinely thank you for pouring into my cup, right? For helping me learn more about this process. That meeting that day for me was like an eye-opening situation when you said agents like us. I'm like, wait, agents like us, because my story with this is kind of similar.
Right.
Trying to help folks. Well, you know, as the market turned, a lot of dilapidated properties, and in order to get those properties off of the books for the banks and those short sales and things of that nature, you can't do it, like you said, with typical FHA financing. And the 203K loan is one of, in my opinion, the most advantageous financing out here if you use it properly. So again, I really appreciate all the information that you've given me to allow me to get where I am and get to the point where, you know, I'm able to help other people on a larger scale as well. And I'm looking forward to, you know, continuing to work with you in various aspects of real estate, but especially this one that, you know, we've made home. So 203K.
Right. I look forward to it.
All right, Paul. All right, everyone. That is all we have for this episode of 203K Tuesday. I appreciate your time, and we will see you guys, or I guess I will see you guys next week. But make sure you have that information, Paul's information down, and reach out to him. He's a really great guy, open book, and he's here to help. So thank you guys, and we'll see you next week. Thanks, Paul.
Thanks. My pleasure.
All right, talk to you soon. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and ring that bell. Thanks for watching.